Hello, Don in London. It's 17th of February 2013. Daylight, and daylight's coming early, or earlier. I can feel the onset of spring, even if it isn't really getting going yet. But it's going to be a good day today, bright, they say. My videos, not about weather particularly, they're all about recovery. Recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour could be equally addictive around people, places and things, trying to prove myself, trying to be perfect, and certainly never anywhere near perfect. So I always felt a little less than maybe I could feel about me. Not good enough. I don't know where that came from, but that sort of thing is said to a child. Not good enough. And it sticks. Could do better. Doesn't pay attention in class. Things which put us down rather than build us up. So when we're a kid, it can be very difficult to pay attention to something which we don't understand or we find completely incomprehensible or uninteresting, because we'd rather be out as nature intended, in the fresh air, running around, rather than building ourselves up for something in the future. After all, instincts are natural. So maybe I wasn't very attentive as a pupil, or maybe I was more attentive to those things which were natural. I don't know now. I will never know, because we are a mixture of everything these days. So, I guess my feelings of not being good enough, could do better, try harder, were all part of my fear of not being good enough, fear of life. And to take the edge off me, as soon as I realised that I could do it, I found alcohol was perfect for offering conviviality and joyfulness and dealing and coping with things I found very difficult. So my universal medicine, if you like, was alcohol. A bit like a purveyor of snake oil, I guess, with medicine men. It worked in all circumstances, and in the end I didn't work without it, or could not work without it, and didn't see how I could live life at all without it. And the roughness of that situation is, once we are addicted, it's very difficult to either admit or accept it, because if anybody found out, what would they think of me? Well, the truth was, I should think that most people knew I was an alcoholic, way ahead of me in my behaviour, my attitudes, my missing in action, not there, isolated and frightened to either come out and play or come out and work. So it went from being the most useful best friend I ever had to being my worst enemy and killing me. And that's the nature of addiction. I didn't know I was an addict, an alcoholic, until I was certainly an alcoholic. And then admitting and accepting is very difficult, because we all have denial as a way of coping. So if something is too big for us, automatically we say, I can't believe it. This isn't happening to me. It can't be me. After all, I can cope. But actually, I couldn't, and I didn't know the way out. So it took quite a while, and some professional help drying out, some professional help suggesting I ought to look at my situation. And in the end, I had to admit and accept I was an alcoholic. And then, what am I going to do about it? Self-will told me I could crack this on my own, and I couldn't, and I needed help. So these days I get help on a daily basis from people I know, both in the big world and also a world of fellowship called Alcoholics Anonymous. If you're in AA, you know full well I cannot speak for you, and I wouldn't want to. And if you're not in AA, I don't speak for AA, because I wouldn't wish to speak for other people in the fellowship, because they have their own outlook. We only go there for one reason, and that's to be sober and learn how to live life again. And then we have our freedom back to be whatever we can be for a day. Freedom to be me. And I'll know a little bit more about who I am by the end of the day. So the fellowship of AA, bedrock of my sobriety, sober first, so the rest of life can happen. Good, bad or ugly, whatever it might be, it's just going to happen, and I'm going to be part of it. And I will get some freedom in there to choose what I can and cannot do. So why share about Alcoholics Anonymous? An introduction to the possibility of sobriety if you're on the verge of discovery about your alcoholism, or want to try and help somebody who is an alcoholic, or simply a bit of a daily reflection for those who may be in fellowship and cannot get to a meeting. Those are my motives. Share and help as best I can. So sometimes I can't get out because I have other chronic maladies which keep me in. Anyway, fellowship of AA, my bedrock. What is it? I share the AA preamble here, and then some words and feelings and understandings I've come to just for today. So the preamble of AA, just so you know why I don't represent it, as well as why I am a fan and love the fact that I am in fellowship. Here we go. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose, and this is all it is, our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So you couldn't go wrong on that, could you? But the point is, fellowship is for sobriety, and everybody who goes there has a life and freedom to choose, hopefully, what they're going to do next. And if you don't have freedoms, for whatever reason, they cannot do of life, there is only so much one person can do or cannot do. We are in fellowship to help each other be sober, so we get our personal freedom back. Freedom to be ourselves. Not the same, in fact, quite the opposite, which is why we don't have any spokespersons telling you this is what AA will do for you, because it won't fix you. You get your choices back on a daily basis, sober. And then we have to live life, so we still have to work at it. It's not the end of the road, and there are no qualifications when it comes to being in fellowship. All you have is a desire to be sober today. So my thoughts, feelings, meditations, if you like, this morning. February 17th, 2013. And still grey out, Sunday morning. After 8. Yes. About step 2, being restored to sanity. Came to believe that a power greater than me could restore me to sanity. And the higher power, if you like, a power greater than me, came to believe a higher power could restore me to sanity. Turned out to be the truth, love and wisdom around, universally, if only I could access it. Anyway, my words today: sensible, sensitive, sensual, luscious, lush, sensuous, voluptuous, naturally. We are of nature, and naturally we will have desires, which are all right and good, desires and emotions in the moment of now. Knowing them and understanding them is part of reality in the moment of now. I did not get sober to be some sort of bogus Puritan. I got sober to be a real human being having a human experience today. So reality, being a human being, and being human, meaning I'm a learner if I've got my head on straight. And if I'm not a learner, I'm living the past experiences rather than living the current experience. In fellowship though, just like any newspaper reporter looking for the story which can make life look a certain way, sometimes we concentrate on what we fear will take us back to the madness, and all we need to do is look at what we fear and deal with it today. Not just think about it, we need to really understand where extreme behaviour has undermined our ability to live a natural life, which is all part of the 12 steps that most people find helpful. And they're only suggestions, but they are principles of living for me. So it doesn't actually bind me up, it offers freedom to learn how to live now. So it's principles of living, not constraining shackles of living. Yeah, natural desires are good if we understand what natural desires really means and how it relates to our code of conduct as a human being. And we do have to take account of a moral code which is universally understood. Personal conduct becomes an issue of conscience and how we really are, living in reality and behaving in a natural and consistent manner with the world. Personal choices, personal morality and universal morality is all part of life today. So we can't get away from the morality of now. Our own personal morality and code and how we grow and develop, and the universal morality and codes of behaviour which we live if we are to live in society, community, family, or wherever we are. If there is a word to describe a feeling or action, it is common and natural for these emotions and thoughts to occur. So we will have emotions and thoughts occurring which may or may not be to the moral code that we espouse, what we want to do, or the universal codes of morality that we learn in society. In life, we are not judged by our words, we are judged by our actions. So it is about using your noggin to understand what your morality is, the universal morality, the can do, cannot do. It's not being a Puritan, it's understanding your personal nature, desires, and what is natural, what is normal, and only you can work that out in relation to the normal that you experience every day around you. And sometimes life isn't very normal, is it? After all, a lot of us are spending time drunk, oblivious, or just ignoring the feelings that we suppressed or just didn't know how to cope with. We preferred oblivion, and that was difficult. Because if we don't learn how to do things on a day-by-day basis, we don't have the developing wisdom to be able to behave naturally in natural circumstances. Being restored to sanity by a higher power, for me that is the truth, love and wisdom available to me today. It's not just what resides in my head, it's listening and learning and seeing what's going on around me and asking for help when I need it. So, being restored to sanity by a higher power and not being made into a Puritan, not fearing my feelings, simply understanding them first of all. At the beginning of my journey in recovery, I truly had no natural emotional connection to anything, least of all myself. And the extreme feelings which erupted and could no longer be quelled or medicated to oblivion meant I certainly had no grip on reality or sanity. Now that sounds like I was completely bonkers. Yes, because I was in two minds, mad in one sense, and still trying to emulate sanity in another sense. There is no fix to dealing with feelings in the moment of now, because if our feelings are working correctly, they are simply what they are. Feelings are what they are in the moment of now, because if our feelings are, yes, they simply are what they are. At the same time, I had enough gumption to realise that my feelings were quite extreme and horrible in my early days of recovery, and I needed a safe place to sit some of the time, just sit there in fellowship meetings, vent some of the time, express everything some of the time, and listen to everybody else similar to me in the fellowship of AA. And is often said, time is the healer, time is the healer. So I can't do it all in one day. True that time is the healer, as long as we are learning where we got to, why we got there, and what to do about it. Just for a day, and then another day, and another, till my wits returned. And even today, you know, my wits can be good, bad or ugly. They can be quite sane, frivolous, sumptuous, you name it, or just plain wrong. I see the world the wrong way round, upside down. Sometimes it's humorous, but sometimes it's appalling. What is it like being restored to sanity? To get a balance of acceptance where I can cope with the good things, the bad things, and the ugly things of life. First, I needed to recognise my situation, admit and accept the truth about my rock bottom, where I've got to, and then realise that any state of mind is contingent. Any state of mind, any state of my mind, is contingent on asking myself what it is and asking for help to keep me on track. Those of us who tried medication and prayer, that's what I used to do, self-medicate into oblivion. Those who have tried meditation and prayer, no matter what you think you may be praying to, God, good conscience, the universe, the action of prayer and meditation provides focus and clarity in the moment of now. So we get a bit more focus and clarity. That's not right thinking, that's not right feeling. Well, feelings are never right or wrong, they're just the feelings, the mood we have. And that's what impacts on our thinking and actions. I can see when my emotions are out of kilter, imbalance, or just plain difficult. As if I feel like, and if I feel like I'm in two minds, then I really do feel the need to ask for help. Shall I do this? Shall I do that? What if I do this? Will they do that? I'm in two minds. Ask for help. Normally the best person to ask about that is the person you're reacting or interacting with. Usually your loved ones. If only there was a qualification we could pass which would certify our sanity. And there was a film back in the 1950s, an old black and white film, where everybody was under suspicion of murder. And one person said, they're all mad. And I know I'm not mad because I've got a certificate to prove it, because they've been in a loony bin and been certified as sane to come out. Well, actually, there is no qualification around sanity. And if only there was one, and then we wouldn't have to worry about it. Or would we? Or about anything anymore? You know, if we could qualify for it, then we don't have to think about it, do we? Or do we? Fortunately, there is no qualification when it comes to sanity, and there is no qualification to emotional and spiritual living. No matter what we are doing today, the impact will cause an emotional and spiritual awareness, where feelings are happening and where we are either coping or not coping in the moment of now. We will still encounter good, bad and ugly today, and the quality of our emotional and spiritual experiences will depend upon our personal impact on the situation by what we do or do not do moment to moment. Your choices, your actions are your spiritual experience today. So, feelings impact on my thinking. If I know what my mood is, I know how it affects my thinking and my actions. Good feeling, good thinking, good actions. Bad feeling, bad thinking, bad actions. That's what can happen if I do it automatically and don't consider what I'm up to. So a bit of prayer meditation in the moment of now. What am I about? Am I in a state of sanity, or am I being driven mad? I'm as mad as hell about this. So what's going to be my reaction to it? Or what am I going to do? It's up to me, freedom of choice, if I've got my wits back. I'm so pleased that I've got my natural instincts back, not so pleased that my natural instincts have been impacted by maturity. Very pleased and fond of genuine good times to be recollected and cherished by, and extremely pleased that sanity can be restored on a daily basis or in the moment of now. And sanity is all those things: personal conduct, personal morality, universal conduct, universal morality, truth and love in the moment of now, and trying to be open, honest and willing to change to meet the situation I am in today. And that's what I learn. That's how it goes. Yeah. The can do and cannot do. Natural fears, natural courage, as nature intended? Question marks. Nature intends we learn and keep on learning until we reach our expiry date, whenever that may be. And today, whether we behave to the good, bad or ugly of who we are, will be the best we can be today. So no matter what we're doing, depending on the effort we put in, or don't put any effort in, that's the best we're going to be. And when we encounter other people, it is the best they can be today. And they can be good, bad or ugly in the moment, and for all of today, but that's the best they can be. And if we interact in that way with them, that's the best it can be. Our actions will always speak louder than the words, and that is the price that every human pays. So it's by our actions, whether we're included or excluded, whether we can do something or can't do something, whether we agree or disagree. We're allowed to do all those things, but there are consequences to actions today. And the most important one for me is not to drink. And then the rest of life can happen. I get a crack at what my feelings may be, what nature intended, what's naturally possible for me today in my maturity and understanding of who I am and what I can and cannot do. And that all focuses on the Serenity Prayer. The saving, profoundly useful, simple meditation around can do, cannot do, wisdom to know the difference. So it can be to God, good conscience, the universal, whatever it may be, whatever you choose it to be. God it's the simplified way of saying to myself, when I don't know, the truth, love and wisdom is out there. And I need to focus on what I don't know and ask for help, as much as what I do know, which may be correct or incorrect. It's a judgment call based on personal freedom and exploration of what is happening today. A complicated way of saying keep it simple. So the keep it simple bit is the Serenity Prayer to God or in good conscience. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference in the moment, in the minute, hour, and just for today.